All right, AVC Vinyl Community, how you doing? My name is Jamie. Thanks so much for stopping by. Well, it is the last Thursday for the month of October, so that means tonight I'll be checking out the Revival House Vinyl Society, the Revival Vinyl Society get-togethers. And they certainly have these kind of vinyl nights, obviously, in a number of communities. This is one in Stratford. I think I've chatted about this before. Revival House is a restaurant concert venue in Stratford. And once a month, last Thursday of the month, they have a DJ, Mr. D, who plays vinyl, and anybody can bring vinyl, and anybody can chat about the vinyl that they bring. It's quite an eclectic evening, and so I'll be checking that out tonight. So if you're in Stratford at Revival House, we'll see you tonight for that. I haven't decided what I'm going to bring. I'm thinking because Halloween's coming up, I'm going to bring Alice Cooper's Love It to Death, but we'll see. Okay, surprise, surprise, we've got more vinyl for you on this one. I think for me, this was the find of the week for me. This is some great psychedelic pop, rock, folk from 1969. It's a Beautiful Day, their debut album on Columbia from 1969. And this was a band I'd read about. I know this is certainly on top lists of album covers of all time, and if not, greatest albums of all time. From 1969, this is just a great example of San Francisco psychedelic rock, psychedelic folk. This really is a terrific album. And as you can see, this copy is a little worn, but not too bad. The copy plays well. I don't think this is an original issue. I think this issue came out maybe just a few years later, because the Columbia label is slightly different, but I'll take it out here. And I don't know if this sleeve is not necessarily original, because this one, it is a Columbia sleeve, and it feels like it's quite old, but it's advertising mainly jazz and movie soundtracks on this. So I don't know if it's original for this, but it is on the same label. But this is, I think, a later issue on the Columbia label. But can't say enough about this album. This is just, if you want just an album that exemplifies San Francisco psychedelic folk, it's this one. I'll show you the gatefold inside. And the gatefold, the inside's quite nice. And the album plays well. And I didn't really have to spend too much money, because I know this album can go for a fair price at times. But on the Columbia label, the classic album cover. And this is the same artist who did Quicksilver Messenger Service Happy Trails album cover as well. But what a great debut when you got David LaFlamme and Linda LaFlamme, husband and wife team, violin. And, it kicks off with sort of great folky psychedelic stuff. White Bird is the hit or the noted song from this one. But then when you get into Wasted Union Blues, that's when you're getting full-on psychedelic rock. And then it gets into nice moody stuff with Bulgaria on side 2. And I didn't know the backstory to this, but when I was listening to this, the song Bombay Calling, first track on side 2, I'm thinking, do I know that song? And yeah, I mean, the beginning of that song sounds pretty close to Deep Purple's Child in Time. And I guess there's a whole story that Deep Purple, or at least Ian Gillan, admitted that they kind of lifted some stuff from Bombay Calling for Child in Time. And then I guess in turn this band did the same thing on their next album, or album after that, where they lifted a little bit of a Deep Purple song. So there you go. Mutual copyright infringement, mutual stealing. That takes it away from all the courts. If everybody's up front and admits it, that's the thing. If everybody's on the same page, that's okay. But what an absolutely terrific album, 1969. Yeah, a little worn, but hey, the album plays great, so that's all that matters. All right, and this was an interesting find. You get weird compilations that come out, and this is certainly up there in terms of an odd compilation. This is David Clayton-Thomas and Linda Ronstadt of the Stone Ponies. This was originally a Capitol release, then Pickwick reissued it, and I'm not sure what year this came out. I'm assuming 1969 or 1970, judging by the wonderfully psychedelic cover. I do like the cover. But this is David Clayton-Thomas on one side and Linda Ronstadt and the Stone Ponies on the other. For me, it's wonderful getting these early David Clayton-Thomas songs. This is the stuff he recorded in the 60s, mid-60s, well before he joined Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And so certainly David Clayton-Thomas in his early days, his stuff was really bluesy R&B, real tough approach, and real garage band band recording quality to it. So on this one for David Clayton-Thomas, you get Born with the Blues, Out of the Sunshine, Send Her Back, Take Me, or Send Her Home, excuse me, Take Me Back, and then the single Brainwashed, which was kind of an anti-war song. And these, especially for the early David Clayton-Thomas stuff, they're kind of hard to find these singles or any compilation. So I was very pleased to see that. And then Linda Ronstadt and the Stone Ponies, you get Back on the Street Again, Different Drum, I've Got to Know, Song About the Rain, and New Hard Times. And those songs are all taken from their second album and nothing from their first album. So with David Clayton-Thomas, it's a collection of singles. And then Linda Ronstadt and the Stone Ponies, it's songs from their second album. I think their second album is called Evergreen or Volume 2, something like that. But they titled this album Back on the Street Again, which is a Linda Ronstadt song. But you know, overall, you gotta love the cover. And again, just to get some of those David Clayton-Thomas songs are great. Okay, pick this up just for a couple of bucks, and this is Herman's Hermits, their second album, the Hermits on Tour. And despite the title On Tour, this is not a live album, but this came out, I believe, in 1965. And this is a Canadian pressing, but you've got Can't You Hear My Heartbeat, I'm Henry VIII, I Am, and also they do a cover of the Yardbirds' For Your Love, which I didn't know they did. It's also got the song Silhouettes, which was also a big hit. This is great. British Invasion, 60s pop, and yeah, despite how kind of worn this copy is, and as you can see, whoever owned this decided to color in some of the lettering on the title there, the On Tour and Hermits. But having said that, it plays really well, and this was on the MGM label. And I can just quickly show it to you here. Yeah, classic MGM label. So Hermits, some great 60s British Invasion pop. Okay, Art Garfunkel. This is his album Scissors Cut, and certainly Paul Simon back in the news with his final tour, and certainly getting lots of accolades for his current and final tour. And yeah, so this is an Art Garfunkel album, came out in 1981. When this album came out, this was the same year that Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel reunited for the concert in Central Park, which is kind of nice. And this one has Heart in New York, which is a lovely song. This is very, adult contemporary, pretty easy listening, again with, Art Garfunkel's lovely vocals. This also includes the song Bright Eyes, includes the song The French Waltz, which is an Adam Mitchell song. And Adam Mitchell, Canadian, he was with the band The Poppers, and then The French Waltz was also recorded by Nicolette Larson, I think, prior to this one. And yeah, some really nice musicians he surrounds himself with on this one. And in fact, I didn't know, but the song In Cars, Paul Simon does backing vocals for that one. But you got Andrew Gold, who also plays on this one, Paul Simon, as I mentioned, and even incredible bassist Tony Levin does bass on the first song. But again, when you usually have Tony Levin on bass, you're getting that really great bass attack. Not on this album, but overall, it's a nice album. And yeah, 1981, that was certainly significant because of the big Simon and Garfunkel concert in Central Park reunion. Okay, we've got the Beach Boys on this one. This is 10 Years of Harmony, and this is a double album compilation of their Brothers Records years. So this is 1970 to 1980, and this is a terrific compilation, especially if you're familiar with the Beach Boys' 60s hits. This collects all their 70s stuff, and this would make just a wonderful companion if you've got Endless Summer, or Spirit of America, or Sunshine Dream, or Summertime Dream, some of those compilations the Capitol put out in the 70s. This is a perfect companion to it. And when you've got Add Some Music to Your Day, they've also got Disney Girls, California Saga, California, Marcella, great song. I like their version of Rock and Roll Music, also It's Okay, and they've got Good Timin', which was a lovely vocal song from 1979, Sail on Sailor, Alone, great tune. Darlin's also a wonderful song. Surf's Up, Alone. Feel Flows, Until I Die. The only song they're missing on this one is Hang On Dear Brother from Carl and the Passions, which is a great song. But overall, this is a great compilation. Didn't even know they made this. It's kind of nice focusing on the 70s years. Some of those kind of forgotten about years to a degree, although people are certainly rediscovering those years with the Beach Boys. And yeah, it was on the Caribou Brother Records label with full lyrics enclosed. And quickly show you the label. And yeah, there you have it. And yeah, the Beach Boys, 10 Years of Harmony, great, great compilation. Okay, that's going to do it for this one. And as I mentioned, I'll be checking out Revival House Vinyl Society tonight. And if you're there, we'll see you there. And again, I really do appreciate the comments, and I really do appreciate how just the musical knowledge that you bring to this in terms of asking questions or say adding extra trivia. Love reading about that. So we'll chat again and subscribe too. Thanks. Bye bye.